This is what I saw there. Insurrection is a crime. Okay, there's an Insurrection Act. You have a statute. You have the whole thing. There has never been an insurrection that was largely unarmed. Okay, and I know people are going to say they had fire extinguishers and sticks. If your intention is to take over the United States government, you're going to come heavy. You're going to come hard. You're going to be armed. This was a riot, and that's bad enough. January 6th was bad enough. It was a riot. Ashli Babbitt, for good reason, bad reason, no reason, was where she was. She put that officer in fear of his life with like 10 other people. And that's how she got shot.
We don't know that she put him in fear of his life because there was never an investigation into it. They did. So Michael Byrd, the man who shot her to death, had already been sanctioned for leaving his loaded Glock in the men's room of the Capitol. Now, you tell me, I don't know what your view of firearms is, but I have a lot of views on firearms. You can't leave a loaded, striker-fired handgun with a bullet in the chamber,
right,
with no safety, and
right,
you leave that in the men's room as a cop, you should be fired immediately. That's negligent and a mortal threat to anyone else who uses the men's room, so especially children. So that guy shot her. Oh, that's great.
So I'm not
Winchester pump.
That's not my gun. That is my son. That's Mario.
Oh, I
Cuomo.
love that.
And that is that's a breech-loaded Winchester.
I know my guns.
I'm not.
No, but I'm just saying.
I'm not anti-weapon. But here's the thing.
There was no investigation.
I know, but hold on. First of all, the investigation is what we all saw on video. And what he said.
Do cops get to shoot people without a warning? I don't think they do, actually.
Cops don't get to shoot you without a warning in a situation where they are exercising a use of force in apprehending you. In a situation where there is a mob descending upon this guy, he's trying to hold the glass doors because he wants lawmakers to not get hanged or whatever, and they're breaking through. He then made a judgment that his life was going to be threatened.
But what I'm saying, it was a criminal.
And him leaving a weapon somewhere is a bad move, but it doesn't have any relevance in terms of what he did.
Well,
here.
Of course it does, because it speaks to his judgment. And here's the point I would make, is that Ashli Babbitt was not a mob. She was an individual.
Right,
but he didn't shoot a mob. He shot an unarmed woman who was under 5'5", who did not pose a mortal threat to him. And if she did, tell me how. And he killed her. And so just on the basis of those facts alone, I need to know more. But we don't know more because there was no investigation. It was just swept under the rug, and then he goes on TV and accuses everyone of racism who doesn't like the killing that he committed. And then you have people on television saying, I'm so glad that she died. I'm so glad that she was killed. This is a veteran, by the way, who runs a pool company in San Diego. This is the person who served the country and who is getting the least benefit from it. She runs a freaking pool company, okay? She's not working at BlackRock. And her death is like totally fine because we don't like her politics. If they think it's okay to kill Ashli Babbitt when she posed no mortal threat to anybody, not even conceivably, then they'll be happy when I die. That's how I feel about it.
God forbid. And you're probably not wrong, because the fact that there's even a they in your analysis of it shows that we're in the wrong place.
Yeah, Morning Joe. I'm specifically of Morning Joe.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but what I'm saying that humanity should be an absolute value.
Amen.
When, like, January 6th, I know people will say it was an insurrection. Okay, fine. He wasn't charged with that. And there's a reason he wasn't charged with that. And it's not a technicality. And your approach and the approach of other people that, hey, this was just, these guys were in the wrong place, the wrong way, but that's all it was. I don't agree with that. I think it was a riot. And I think they were way over the line, and I think that they were motivated to go way over the line, in part by the President of the United States.
Obviously, were a riot, but let me ask you just a couple questions. One is, why can't we know how many federal agents were in the crowd and what they were doing there?
I'm fine with knowing. I love transparency. It is the key to understanding.
It's the opposite of what we have, and there are thousands of hours of tape, and the release of which will not jeopardize security in the Capitol.
You cherry-picked that tape, by the way.
I aired what they sent me.
You cherry picked it though, and you made it look like
I don't know what that means.
Like you kept showing the Indian guy walking around like it was a the
Indian
shaman
guy did over 2 years in prison for
know.
no crime whatsoever. I talked to him yesterday. Again, his name is Jake Chansley, and he's a very smart guy. Actually,
I think I interviewed him also. By the way,
he's a good dude.
Definitely his lawyer. Maybe both.
He's pretty far out, but he's no more far out than Janet Yellen or anybody else. You know what I mean? So like.
Yeah, except Janet Yellen wasn't busting into the Capitol and walking around.
Janet Yellen's an actual criminal. I mean, Janet Yellen was Fed chair and then taking millions of dollars in speaking fees from the banks. What?
But look,
that's criminal behavior.
I'm fine with those types of ethical lapses and how we allow the system to keep going around.
Cuff her, baby!
Lock her up? Is that what you mean to say?
No.
But I do think that, look, I think that what I see in January 6th, what I see when it comes to immigration, what I see when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, all of these things wind up becoming fodder for division. You have to have a take. And it winds up having to be the opposite take that the other side has. And I really think that it's symptomatic of our decline.
I totally agree.
January 6th was either no big deal, the BLM stuff was worse, or it was an insurrection. And everybody there is treason. We don't like what the president does, treason, or he did nothing. Everything is like that. Immigration, the migration stuff. You are hit with the stick of you are forwarding the replacement theory, that the Democrats want to bring in as many brown people as possible to replace white people.
Well, they've said that. Repeated. Well, like 3 books have been written on it.
What? 3 books? That's not the policy is not to replace white people with brown people.
So I'm interested, and by the way, I've never said white people. I said the current people who are born here, many of them are not white. I don't know how we get to white people.
You contextualize it as white people. You'll say white people created everything.
I mean,
they don't want us to have white babies. Why is it coming
I've
up?
never said they don't want us to have white babies. I haven't said that.
No?
Though the attacks on white people are one of the biggest things that's ever happened in our country. The fact that people in the media can just sort of blithely attack an entire group on the basis of their skin color. I just grew up thinking that was completely out of bounds.
Does it matter if the group is a majority or a minority?
Well, the principle never changes, which is you're not responsible for your skin color. You're only responsible for what you do.
Right.
And so you can't attack people on the basis of immutable characteristics. And if you can, then tell me why segregation was wrong. I don't really understand. I think segregation was wrong. And I've always thought that. I think it now.
Good.
And I think attacking people on the basis of their skin color is always wrong. It was every bit as wrong as what's happening now. It's every affirmative action, totally immoral. How can you give someone a job on the basis of a skin color? How can you deny someone a job on the basis of a skin color? You're not allowed to do that in our country. That's what I was taught growing up in a very liberal place in California. And then I get older and it's like, oh, we're definitely going to do that. And you can't complain about it or you're the racist. And it's like, no. You're the one punishing people for how they were born, for their skin color. I thought that was like Bull Connor stuff. I thought we hated that. In fact, I thought that was the lodestar of American politics. The one thing we hate is attacking people, denying them opportunity on the basis of their skin color. And they're like, oh, no. Not only do we do that, but you can't mention it. Well, I think I can, actually.